I'm always wrong. That's the best way I can say it. I'm always wrong. Like, there's always a better way.
Wow.
And I got to figure out what could I have done.
That's a nugget. I don't think you guys even realize how valuable that concept is.
Yeah.
Failing forward, being comfortable with the failure because you know that at the other side of your failure lies a promise or a lesson, right?
Yep.
So how do you extract that lesson and get better?
You're asking me? I would say, how do you extract that lesson? I don't know, man. I can only speak from personal experience, and I really believe that, like, I'm a guy, if I screw up, I'm always wrong. That's the best way I can say it. I'm always wrong. Like, there's always a better way.
Wow.
And I got to figure out what could I have done? You know what I mean? No matter what it was. Even if it was really easy to point at something, you know what I mean? To extract a lesson, you just always have to be wrong.
That's big, dude. That's a nugget. I don't think you guys even realize how valuable that concept is.
Yep.
Admitting you're wrong almost before it even happens, right? Because you're forward thinking as the visionary on worst case scenarios, right?
Yep.
And you're already planning and prepping to make sure that you have tools and systems in place, but you're casting the shadow of a doubt in the back of your mind so that you're prepared when that snowball comes, right? Because opposition is coming.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not even like, I don't even want anybody to think like I doubt myself. I'm actually really good at, like, just taking the hat, I'll throw it over the fence, and I've, like, never been on that side of the fence.
Yeah.
Like, we'll figure it out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm prepared to figure that out and learn something, you know what I mean? I think that's hard for some people. And you speak about, like, the visionary. I think, like, before we walked in here, I was telling you, we're the freaks, man. Like, I'll explain. I heard somebody actually explain it this way. I don't want to take ownership of it, but, like, you've heard of disc profiles, right? Typically, a visionary is going to be in the D and the I, where they have to have that people connection.
Yes.
There's different ways to kind of analyze it, but they're usually the driver and the people person.
Yep.
Right? They're very dominant, determined driver and people person, and they have to have some type of belonging or group inclusion, or they're just really, outward with their, emotions. Could be fun, could be not fun.
Yeah.
Right? The D and the I. That's typically where the visionary is at. So with that disc profile, I think I've heard it said 73% of the population is the S and the C. So I had a sales trainer actually explain that to us, and he was actually trying to make a point that, all right, because you're D and I, when you go out on these appointments, throttle it back a little bit. Just understand that, because typically you're going to have the S and C in front of you most of the time, and you got to understand you're the freaks.
Yeah.
Right?
People are not always going to understand your personality, your intention, right? Because we're accelerators, we're drivers,
right?
Hungry for growth, hungry for adding value and seeking purpose,
right?
Like, we're always forward thinking and trying to create things. But for people that are not ready for it, it can come off as abrasive, right?
Yeah, or just too much, or they don't know how to, handle it.
Yeah.
Relate to it, and that's part of our job is salespeople, whether you're agent or investors. You gotta tap into these people. So, yeah, man, I don't know. A lot of good nuggets there, I think, but I study that stuff because, we're hiring a lot of people and want to make sure we got right butts, right seats, all that stuff. Maybe that's a good segue to talk about some team structure.
I like that. So putting the right people in place. When you say the right people in the right seats, EOS is a big model. Right?
I love that.
Gino Wickman.
Oh yeah.
Would you say you guys are operating on EOS, or at least seeking and building forward to build that momentum and reach traction?
Yep. Traction, Get a Grip, Rocket Fuel.
Yeah.
All those books are very top of mind right now.
Love it.
As we're getting ready to bring on 3 new people that'll probably be in our management roles, we've been looking at how to run effective level 10 meetings and how to have those scorecards and all that stuff, right? And actually get really specific on measurables too. So yeah, I love all that stuff. But definitely you got to have right people, right seats. Not that some people couldn't work out, like for example, in a sales agent role, maybe they've got a track record. And I've thought about like going back and forth of having somebody like, maybe they do have a track record. I might try them out for 3 months. You know what I mean? But if they don't, and they really want to do it. If I don't have a track record and they're not a fit, we're gonna have to figure out another seat on the bus right now. You know what I mean?
So when you say right track record, you mean past experience?
Yeah.
Correct?
If you came to me, let's say you're typically I'm going to want an agent who's a D and an I, right? And if you're an S and a C, but you have a sales track record, okay, you've adapted.
Sure.
Right? But especially with us in growth mode right now, if you're an S and a C with no track record, we got another seat possibly
back end.
But I'm not going to put you in an agent role right now.
Right.
Maybe if the team was much larger and, I've got my sales manager in full operating condition and we know how we're taking people on, maybe we've got some help with the S's and C's specifically, but not for our team, not right now, not at this moment. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be the right fit for that seat.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you currently have an integrator to take your ideas and your visions and put them in?
She's one of those three. We took her to dinner. I actually took all of them to dinner 2 weeks ago, and they all figured out together that they were all Virgos. You're Virgo. So I don't follow the horoscopes. That's not in my hiring criteria yet, but I'm sure they might have something to say about that now. But she was actually at dinner and she was talking about color coding stuff like while we were there. So I was like, well, that's exactly why we found you and we're hiring you.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And your wife plays a big part in the business too. Like she is the organizational wing. I'm sure she just takes your word vomit and your systems and all your craziness and she tries to make sense of it and make sure that the communication takes place on the back end. She facilitates, emails, setting inspections, all that stuff. Because we've worked with her in the past, right? I think Lisa's closed a deal with her.
Yep.
We did Bolter's Lock together. What does that look like? How is it working as a husband-wife team?
So it's tough, man. If I was to give like some real advice, somebody asked us this recently at an event, and would I take it back? Heck no, man. She's been my cheat code for one since the beginning, and I've had paperwork to process. I've not done certain things at all the whole time I've been an agent. She's a licensed agent. And what we've also learned from each other too in the process, we've kind of forced each other to like, why we're always wrong. You know what I mean? And, we'll talk about things like the scorecards and level 10 meetings and all of this stuff. And we're both open to that. It's hard at times. And I think working with your spouse, because it's a different person, you got to go home with that person.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about. So it makes it hard. Also, she's not the typical seat on the bus, but now she has a track record.
Yeah.
She knows what she's doing, but we just know as business owners, we have a different vision for where we both want to be. We don't take it back working together at all, but there's definitely been lots of learning lessons that I think we both can list out a couple pages of, and we wouldn't take it back for the world.
Yeah. I think any husband and wife team are going to tell you that exact same thing.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you're in business with your spouse, it's a journey, right? Yeah. I mean, I think you learn and you grow so much through the process, and you get to know each other's buttons, which ones you can push, which ones you can't.
Yeah.
But you almost come to a deeper understanding of one another. And as painful as some seasons might be, it forces you to grow. It's either going to help you grow together or you're going to grow apart, right? And it takes a special type of special relationship to really stay engaged.
I think it's tough, man. It'll test you. And maybe one thing too that I haven't really maybe talked to her and really told her about either is like all the times that I do kind of have this visionary vomit, verbalizing stuff for me, you probably can relate, really kind of helps me piece things together. I've talked about the business so much more and in different ways, and just even if her feedback wasn't that great, you know what I mean? Because she doesn't get it. Yeah. Right. No offense to her. I love you, Aaron. But she does have great ideas though. And she is kind of that black hat at times, but being able to verbalize so many things when and how I wouldn't have, if I would have just had an assistant or it would have just been me, has probably put us light years ahead from where we would have been.
Yeah. Lisa's usually right. And I'll admit this. I will. Sometimes I don't want to accept the feedback up front. Yeah. And I'm going to scream and kick. But at the end of the day, man, like she's usually right. Yeah. Just when I'm sure she saved me from a lot of headache and stuff. And
She's
there's
got that
times that I
intuition.
wish women have better intuition than men.
Yeah.
In most cases.
I'm pretty optimistic, so I'm probably wrong a lot more than I know.
Yeah. That's a visionary trait.
Yep.
It is.
Yep.